So, if you've spent any time online in the last few years, chances are you've chatted with ChatGPT, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's everywhere. Super easy to use.
Yeah, it is. But it's fundamentally like a preset filter.
Yeah.
It gives you quick, decent results,
Yeah.
but you can't really look under the hood.
Exactly. You don't get much control.
Right. Yeah. So if you want truly custom, high-fidelity output, maybe specialized code, or content written in a hyper-specific tone, or an AI that acts exactly how you program it, you need more granular control. That's why today we're doing a deep dive into the OpenAI Playground. Think of it this way. If ChatGPT is that quick snapshot filter on your phone, the Playground's like the professional photo editing suite, where you can adjust every single dial.
That's a great analogy. It really is. And this deep dive, it's basically our roadmap for getting you comfortable with that suite. We're showing you how to move past just simple conversation and really get direct control over the underlying models.
We're focusing on what the key things.
Yeah, we're really focusing on the 3 crucial dials, let's call them, that differentiate the Playground experience, the things that turn you from just an AI user into, well, someone who can really harness it.
And the best part, especially if you're just starting out, you don't need to write a single line of code to get going.
Nope, no coding required.
Plus, new accounts usually get around $18 in free credits.
Yeah.
That gives you plenty of runway, probably several weeks, just to experiment and mess around.
Definitely enough to get your feet wet.
Okay, so let's get you into this testing ground quickly. The setup is really straightforward.
Super simple.
You just visit platform.openai.com, click sign up, and when it asks, just select I'm exploring personal use. Then the Playground link. It's right there on your main dashboard. Easy to find.
Yep, can't miss it. Once you're in, though, the first thing to kind of wrap your head around is the currency. It runs on tokens.
Tokens, right.
Every interaction. So what you type in and what the AI gives back is charged based on these tokens.
And roughly what is a token, like character-wise?
Yeah, good question. Roughly speaking, about 4 characters equal 1 token. And this is where your choice of AI model suddenly becomes a bit of a financial decision.
Absolutely. And that's why if you're just starting, you should probably stick with GPT 3.5 Turbo.
Definitely. It's the default for a reason.
It's highly efficient, handles most general tasks really well. It's kind of your budget workhorse,
Exactly. And look, this is a critical warning here. GPT-4 is powerful, no doubt. Its reasoning, its accuracy.
Yeah.
It's top-notch.
Right.
But it's a premium product. It eats through those credits much faster. We're talking roughly 15 to 20 times more expensive per token than 3.5 Turbo.
Wow. Okay. That's significant.
It really is. So our recommendation, stick to the economical model 3.5 while you're learning the Vocks, learning how to tune these parameters. Only jump up to GPT-4 when you have a task that genuinely needs that superior instruction following ability.
Okay. So we've picked our engine, maybe GPT 3.5 to start. But where are the controls? You mentioned the dials. Here's where it gets really interesting, right? Moving beyond just picking the model.
Yes, this is where the editing suite part comes in. We're opening up that control panel.
Like on the side of the screen in our photo editor analogy.
Exactly. And the first control point you'll see is maybe the most obvious one, the model panel.
Which we just talked about, basically.
Pretty much. This is like choosing your camera body. Are you grabbing the efficient fast shutter model that's GPT-3 3.5 Turbo? Or do you need the high resolution, but yeah, higher cost model GPT-4 for those really professional, complex jobs?
Got it. Model choice first. What's next?
Okay, the second dial. This one, honestly, is what truly separates the beginners from the power users. It's the system prompt.
System prompt. Okay, what's that? It's like a separate box.
It is. It's a dedicated text box, usually right at the top or side, where you essentially program the AI's framework, its personality, its rules, before you even start chatting.
Okay, wait. Let me ask this. If I want the AI to act as, say, a friendly tour guide, why can't it just put act as a friendly tour guide in my main prompt where I type my questions?
Yeah, why the separate box?
Exactly. Why does this separate system prompt matter so much? Isn't that kind of redundant?
That's a really critical question, actually. And it gets to how these large language models fundamentally work. Think of the system prompt as providing the underlying operating instructions.
Okay.
It establishes the model's fundamental role and the rules for the entire session, the whole conversation. Your subsequent user prompts, the ones you type in the main chat area, those are just the immediate requests within that established framework.
Ah, I see. So if I just put it in the user prompt.
Right. If you just tell the AI act as a friendly tour guide in the user prompt, it might, forget that context after a couple of replies. It's just another instruction it's processing.
But the system prompt sticks.
Exactly. If you embed that instruction, you are a friendly tour guide in the system prompt. You've essentially locked that persona in place for every single interaction that follows. It defines the AI's expertise, its style, its constraints before the conversation even begins.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense now. It's like setting the camera lens and aperture before you start snapping photos, not adjusting for every single shot.
Perfect analogy. And the key thing for writing these system prompts, they need to be concise, specific, and focused only on defining the AI's role or persona. You don't ask it questions there.
So give me an example.
Sure, something like, you are an expert physics teacher explaining complex concepts with simple analogies to a high school student.
Okay.
Or maybe, you are a cybersecurity expert. Explain technical concepts using only simple, non-technical terms. That kind of framing drastically changes the tone, the vocabulary, the complexity of everything the AI generates after that.
Got it. Powerful stuff. Right. What's the third key control?
The third one is maybe the most intuitive to grasp, I think. It's temperature.
Temperature. Sounds interesting. What does it control?
It directly controls the balance between creativity and predictability in the AI's output. So, back to your photo editor. Think of this as like the saturation dial.
Oh, okay. More saturation, more vibrant, maybe less realistic.
Exactly. Temperature works on a spectrum, usually from 0 up to 1.0, sometimes higher, but let's stick to 0 to 1.
Right.
If you set it right down at 0, the responses become highly consistent, deterministic, very predictable.
Okay, so when would you want 0?
That's ideal when you need factual accuracy, like summarizing notes, extracting information, maybe generating code where you need it to be exactly the same every time, reproducible results.
Makes sense. And the other end? High temperature.
Right. If you crank it up towards, say, 0.7 or even 1.0, now you're maxing out that saturation. The AI becomes much more adventurous. It'll generate diverse, creative, sometimes delightfully unexpected outputs.
That's for brainstorming.
Perfect for brainstorming, yeah. Generating different marketing copy ideas, creative writing prompts, character dialogues, anything where you want variety and novelty.
And for, like, general use, where should someone start?
Good question. For most general tasks, a balanced middle ground works well. Maybe somewhere between 0.3 and 0.5 is a good starting point to get a feel for it.
Okay. Now, I think I've seen another setting near temperature. Top P. Is that related?
Yeah, top P. Good eye. It is related, but slightly different. While temperature controls how, let's say, daring the model is overall in picking any word, top P, which stands for nucleus sampling, works differently. It tells the model to only consider the most likely words that add up to a certain probability threshold. Like, only look at the top 10% most probable next words.
Okay. So temperature is about the overall randomness. Top P is more about limiting the choices to the most probable ones.
You got it. Temperature influences the shape of the probability distribution, while top P cuts off the tail end. It's a bit more technical.
So for beginners?
Yeah, for beginners, we definitely recommend just starting by mastering temperature first. It's the more intuitive lever for controlling that creativity versus predictability balance. Get comfortable with that, and then maybe explore top P later if you want finer control.
All right, stick to temperature. Okay, so we've got the model, the system prompt, the temperature. What does this actually mean for, daily application? Let's talk about putting this control to use.
Good idea.
I think creating a custom chatbot personality sounds like a perfect first hands-on project. What do you think?
Absolutely. It's a great way to see these controls in action. Start by crafting a specific system prompt, like you said. Maybe you are a friendly, slightly eccentric tour guide specializing in Renaissance Florence.
Okay.
Then start asking it about tourist spots. But then play with the temperature. See what happens. Does the guide sound really stiff and factual at 0.1?
Or maybe wildly theatrical and making stuff up at 0.9.
Exactly. You'll quickly see how the consistency and the creativity you get are based entirely on how you tuned that system prompt and the temperature.
That sounds like fun, actually. Now, one of the most common issues people run into, and I've definitely hit this myself, is when the AI just stops, abruptly cuts off mid-response.
Yes. The dreaded cutoff.
I remember the first time it happened, I was generating this massive story outline, and it just stopped mid-sentence. Talk about an anticlimax.
Yeah, that's almost always the result of hitting the token limit for the conversation.
Right, the tokens again.
Yep. The AI basically ran out of its allowed word count for that interaction. Remember, 3.5 Turbo can handle around 4,000 tokens total. That includes your input and its output combined over the recent chat history. GPT-4 can manage more, like 8,000 or even higher, depending on the specific version.
Okay, so when it cuts off, it's hit the maximum length setting too.
Usually, yes, it's hit the maximum number of tokens it was allowed to generate for that specific response, which is often tied to the overall context window limit.
So what are the simple fixes for that frustrating halt?
You've got two main options, really. One is you can manually adjust the maximum length setting in the Playground panel. There's usually a slider or box for it. You can just increase that number to give the model more room to write before it stops.
Okay, and the other option?
The other, often simpler approach is just a type of follow-up prompt, like continue this response or keep going or finish that thought.
Just prompt it to continue.
Yeah, that usually reminds the AI of the context from its previous turn and prompts it to pick up right where it left off. Works most of the time.
Good tip. Okay, another common roadblock, errors. What if you get that too many requests message? Or maybe the content filters flag something that seems totally harmless.
Right. For the too many requests error, that's usually just temporary server load. The best advice is simply to wait a bit, maybe 10, 20, 30 seconds, and then try again.
Or log out and back in.
Yeah, sometimes logging out and back in can help refresh the session if pausing doesn't work. These errors usually clear up pretty quickly, though.
Okay. And what about those content filters? Sometimes they seem a bit overzealous, right? Flagging harmless stuff.
It can be, yeah. If a perfectly reasonable request gets flagged, the best approach is usually to reword your prompt. Try to add more context, maybe frame it in a more academic or educational way.
Yes.
Well, for example, let's say you wanted the AI to analyze some historical military strategies, but maybe the prompt sounded too much like asking for actionable advice and got flagged.
Right.
Instead of saying, tell me how to conduct a successful siege, you could try rewording it like, for an educational article about medieval history, please analyze the key logistical and tactical challenges associated with siege warfare during that period.
Explicitly stating the purpose.
Exactly. Explicitly stating your educational or analytical purpose often helps bypass overly cautious filters because it clarifies the intent isn't harmful.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, finally, let's talk creativity. For the writers, the brainstormers out there, we want novel output, right? Not boring, repetitive text. How do we really maximize that in the Playground?
Okay, yeah. So you combine the settings we've talked about. First, definitely increase that temperature, push it up to 0.7 or higher.
Crank up the creativity dial.
Yep. And use really descriptive, sensory-rich language in your initial prompt to give it a good starting point. But here's the specialized tool you want to add for really maximizing creative, non-repetitive output. Frequency penalty.
Frequency penalty. Okay, what does that do exactly?
It basically discourages the AI from using the exact same words or short phrases it has already used recently in that specific response or conversation.
So it forces variety.
Precisely. Pushing the frequency penalty value higher, it's usually a slider from 0 to 2 forces more vocabulary diversity. It ensures the AI avoids falling back on the same tired phrases and pushes it to generate genuinely fresh, diverse ideas or phrasings. It works really well combined with a higher temperature.
Interesting. So high temperature for randomness, high frequency penalty to stop it repeating itself.
You got it. Great combo for creative tasks.
Wow. This really demonstrates that the Playground isn't just like a different interface for ChatGPT. It's a fundamental shift, isn't it? It puts the control back in the user's hands.
It really is. The power to customize, to troubleshoot, to really dictate the AI's behavior and output style. It's all right there on that control panel once you know where to look.
Yeah.
And that's the essential insight the Playground gives you, I think. It shows that the same underlying model, whether it's 3.5 or 4, can produce dramatically different, incredibly specific results depending entirely on how you, the user, configure it using these key controls, the model choice, that crucial system prompt, and the temperature setting.
That really is the difference between just, simple use and truly effective harnessing of AI.
Absolutely.
So, okay, people have listened. Maybe they're starting to get the hang of the Playground. To really take these new skills to the next level, don't just use it. Start building a personal knowledge base, right?
Yeah, we really encourage you to start your own prompt library.
Prompt library.
Yeah. When you find a system prompt that works brilliantly for a certain task, save it. When you dial in the perfect temperature and penalty settings for generating marketing copy, note it down. Build your own collection of successful instructions and configurations.
That's smart. Like a recipe book for AI outputs.
Kind of, yeah. And here's one final thought, maybe something for you to explore on your own that can drastically improve outputs for more complex tasks. Look into something called chain of thought prompting.
Chain of thought. Okay, that sounds a bit like jargon.
It does, but the concept is actually pretty simple in practice. It just means you specifically ask the AI in your prompt to break down its reasoning step by step before giving the final answer.
So like asking it to show its work, like in math class.
Exactly like asking it to show its work. You might think it just adds extra words, extra tokens, but for complex logical tasks, or maybe data analysis or multi-step problem solving, this technique can dramatically improve the accuracy and reliability of the final answer.
Why? Because it forces it to think things through.
Pretty much. It prevents the AI from jumping to conclusions or skipping necessary logical steps in its internal process. It makes the reasoning process more transparent and often more robust.
Chain of thought. Okay, something else to experiment with.
Definitely worth playing with once you're comfortable with the basics. So yeah, go play around with those temperature settings, craft some cool system prompts, and start building your own personalized AI framework.